So as I was saying, there is a visual connectedness between these two characters, even though they are two different people, because you have the olive green here, right? They look like they're part of the same group, maybe not on the same team, but part of the same group, right? And this is not the first time NetherRealm Studios has done something like this. They actually did it, although it's closer to the Johnny example, all the way back in the mid-1990s when they changed Sub-Zero's appearance between MK2 and MK3. So let me just show y'all that. And in fact, let me keep this here so you're not just staring at a table while I get the picture ready. Right? MK2 and MK3. So here we have Sub-Zero. Just move this. Here we have Sub-Zero. Right, circa, sorry about that. Sub-Zero circa Mortal Kombat 2, right? So there are certain elements to the MK Ninja, right? The hood, the mask, the color going down the sides. This here, the loincloth piece that hangs down, the boots, right? So there's basically a black costume, right, with colorful accents that usually represent the element of the character, though not always, right? For example, Ermac is a collection of souls, right? He doesn't wield fire, for example, or rain, for example. He wields rain. Purple is not associated with the rain, though it is associated with another person, but that's a video for another day. So this is what Sub-Zero looked like in Mortal Kombat 2, more or less. And then he had his redesign for, sorry about that. I know it's jarring, the movement, I apologize. MK3, right? So this is his look circa Mortal Kombat 3. I apologize for the pixelatedness. Now, while this is obviously very different visually, there are still plenty of touchstones. There's still plenty of visual touchstones still that bring the character together. For example, right, his black hair. His black hair mimics the hood, right? And even though the mask is gone now, you still see the lapels here, right, going down the side. It's mimicked. Let me try to zoom in. It's mimicked here, right? There's, although it's not blue, there is, wrappings on his arms, right? So that, even here at the groin area, right, the blue is still here, the blue's here, right? This here, reminiscent of the designs down here, and even down at the feet. Right, so there is still a lot of visual touchstones, visual connectedness here, design elements that repeat themselves, even though this is obviously two stark different looks of the same character. So I hope that these three examples have demonstrated what I mean when I say visual connectedness, design elements that repeat themselves. And I wanted to bring out the positives first. I wanted to bring out the positives because I wanted to show that Midway, the NetherRealm, has done this right before. Because I'm going to show you how they did it wrong with Frost. One moment, please. Oh, damn. Sorry about that. Don't want you to see my hairy arm. So we have Sub-Zero and Sub-Zero. Difference between two games. Now, we have Frost. Right? Here's Frost. Here's what Frost is best remembered for. This is what Frost generally looks like. Right? So this is the look that Frost is, that most people are accustomed to when they see Frost, right? These spiked tips, the frosty hair, which looks like, which has looks like ice, basically, right? The somewhat pale skin, the mask, right? This is, again, visual connectedness, which makes perfect sense because she is Sub-Zero's student. Excuse me, right? she's Sub-Zero's student, so it makes sense, right? So here's an example of again, where they did it right. But of course, it was very easy because they were just copying the look over. But still, you see, the same elements are repeating themselves here. This is good visual connectedness. Maybe not the most creative thing in the world, but again, she was introduced as Sub-Zero's apprentice. So it makes sense that she would dress like him. But again, from a visual perspective, you can look at this and tell that they are part of the same team, that they are part of the same clan. Right? If anything, her design is slightly a little bit better because her hair actually gives her element away, the frosty hair. Sub-Zero in this particular costume does not have that advantage, right? So here is where they did it good with Frost in connecting her with Sub-Zero. Now, I'm going to show you where they got it terribly wrong. So, old Frost, good Frost, Frost that is visually connected to Sub-Zero and to the Lin Kuei. Focus on that. And we have new Frost. I apologize for the pixelated nature of the picture. But as you can see, and it's honestly, I know the pixelation makes it look worse than it really is. But as you can see, right, there is little to no visual connectedness here. Right? Next to none. This does not look like the same person. You wouldn't be able to tell, with the exception of perhaps the mask. But even then, the designs of the mask are very different, right? The mask is kind of white, bone white looking here, whereas it's a blue here, right? The hair is a different color. This is more of an aquamarine, whereas this is more of, an icy white. The style's different, it's more swept over. Whereas here it's much more spiky. But even here, you see how these visual elements, very few visual elements are repeated, right? So for example, we have the colors here, right, in the chest area, right? But even here, see, this is kind of like a royal blue, I would say. This is a different shade of blue. And for example, the lapel design, right, that is consistent to all of Mortal Kombat's ninjas, or at least their, well, not to all their ninjas, because Kitana and Mileena look different. But to all their male ninjas, remember, she's training under a male ninja, so she dresses like him, right? But this is a consistent design to all of their male ninjas, which is not repeated here. There is nothing going down the sides of the outfit, right? The one thing you have here is the loincloth, right? It's long, but it is repeated. But that's about it. That is about it. The loincloth and the mask. Those are about the only two visual touchstones left between the old design and the new design. That is not enough. Even the color scheme is different. Here, you see the color scheme is mainly blue and black. Each color, with the exception of the color for skin, is blue and black, or a variation of blue with the icy white hair. Here, it's mainly blue and white, with some gold accents here or here at the leg, right? But this is exactly how you do this wrong. There are not enough visual elements, not enough design elements repeating themselves in this design to connect new Frost to old Frost, let alone old Frost to the Lin Kuei. And from what I've read online, some have said, well, this is a Frost that's supposed to be part of the Lin Kuei Cyber Initiative. Here's what I say to that. One moment, please, while we focus on new Frost. She's supposed to be part of the Cyber Initiative. Okay. Here's my answer to that assertion. Revenant Sub-Zero, Triborg, or Cyber Sub-Zero. Now, here is where the look is drastically different, but the visual touchstones are still there. There's still enough that looks similar that these two characters are they still look related or connected, even though, again, on its face, it's totally different. Because while the cyborg ninja look for any of the cyborg ninjas is definitely inspired by Predator, right? And the ninja look is obviously very different, but there are still certain elements that repeat themselves. For example, the face here, the elements of the face, right? The glowing eyes. The lines up here stand in for the eyebrows. The most important part is the face mask here, right? You see the nose area here, and how the face is sunken in like this, and how this is flat. Guess what? Sub-Zero's mask does the same thing. It comes in at an angle, the face is flat. It's the same thing. Or here, again, the elements that repeat themselves, the visual touchstones. See the lapel going over the shoulder in the blue? It's repeated here with Triborg, with Cyber Sub-Zero. So even though these are two very drastic looking looks, they don't look, on their face, they don't look similar. And they're not meant to, right? This is supposed to be Sub-Zero as a Revenant. So somewhat kind of human, resurrected human. I don't quite know how this Revenant thing works. And then as a machine. But even in this, where it's two entirely different bodies, there's still enough visual touchstones, especially in the face area, as I pointed out earlier, to connect the two images. That is not the case here with New Frost. Again, when you compare New Frost to Old Frost, oh good, the pictures of someone together. Get out of here, Subby. When you compare New Frost to Old Frost, there's very little in the way of visual connectedness. There is little in the way of visual consistency. She doesn't look like a ninja, a Mortal Kombat ninja of any stripe or any color. She does not even look like one of the cyber ninjas of the Lin Kuei. She looks like she belongs in an entirely different game. She doesn't even look similar to Cassie Cage or Jackie Briggs, because their designs are a little more militaristic. This is definitely otherworldly. Let's just put it that way. So there's no visual touchstones here, or very few visual touchstones here that connect this design to this character or to any other character in the series. I will tell you this though. New Frost does look like she belongs in a game. I'm not going to say that this design is bad for all video games. It's not. It's just bad for this video game. It does not fit in this video game. Let me show you where this look fits. It fits in a Mass Effect game. This is the type of game she should be in. This is I would say the design inspiration, right? She looks more like she could somehow be a student of or be related to Kai Lang than she does to Sub-Zero. Here is her master, right? Just look at them. Just look at them. There is much more visual connectedness. Again, it's not perfect because they're not meant to be the same from two different games, but if you just look at the costume designs, it's much more similar to Kai Lang here, right? Although the mask is different. This is more of a Domino mask because I think his face was sort of, at least from what I heard, it was kind of meant to be Nightwing-ish in the face with the Domino mask and the long hair. But still, you see the thick armor here, the thick knee here, of course, showing that he's very machine-like. Thick armor, right? The thick armor repeats itself here. You know, the arms are covered. The arms are covered here. So this at least in its most general look, right? This design is much more closer to Kai Lang. It's much closer to Mass Effect than it is to Mortal Kombat. I don't think that's a good thing, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a good thing at all for these two looks. Or rather for this look to be so out of line, so out of touch with the established aesthetics of Mortal Kombat, the established design tropes, the established design elements of Mortal Kombat. And I want to be clear. There's always this accusation of boner culture and whatnot. This isn't about boner culture. This isn't about sex appeal. This is about design elements. And I've just given several examples of how NetherRealm, even currently, NetherRealm did this right, and then how they got it all wrong with Frost. Okay, and this is the main concern I have with the overall costume for the women argument. Right? This is the type of thing that I worry about, that the designs are going to suffer on a fundamental level, because instead of being worried about making cool designs and sticking to good design decisions, right, and just the rules and principles of design, that they become so concerned about, oh, is it too sexy, that they forget certain things like make sure your characters look like they belong in your game. So that's about all I have to say on this. I hope these now 2 videos make sense and bring to light what I'm trying to point out. I hope that this explains it. And here's the thing that I want to make clear. I'm not an artist. I have no degree in art. I don't study art. But I've seen enough art. I've seen enough pop art, video game art, cartoon art, comic art, right, to understand some elements of character design. And one of those elements is visual consistency. That doesn't mean everything has to look the same. That doesn't mean everything has to be a palette swap. But there does have to be some sort of connectedness so that everybody looks like they belong in the same universe. They belong in this game, that they belong in this world that Mortal Kombat has created for itself in the past 20-some years. So, them's bees my thoughts. I hope you enjoy them, whether you like them, whether you hate them, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Please let a sister know, because she worked very hard on this. So anyway, I hope you have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Have fun, and let me know what you think. See you later. Bye.